Episode 21. The crisp, pleasant sound of pages turning. But Li Feiyu found the sound quite irritating. Ignoring Han Li, who was buried in his book, he ran to the edge of the pond, pulled his long blade from the dirt, and began practicing his forms on his own. Han Li gave him a sidelong glance. Seeing the boy was so full of energy, he simply ignored him and turned his attention back to his book. Han Li's reading speed was astonishing. A thick book was quickly finished under his gaze. Without even looking up, he grabbed another book and kept right on flipping through it. He squinted, his expression thoughtful as he read. His gaze was locked on the pages, his head swaying back and forth with the movement of his eyes, giving him the air of a scholar lost in his books. Time flew by. Han Li only stopped after finishing his 11th secret manual. He closed his eyes to rest his mind. Once his mind had recovered a bit, he sat down cross-legged right where he was. He activated the longevity body technique and began replaying the contents of the dozen or so books he'd just read in his mind. In no time at all, Han Li's expression became a whirlwind of emotion. One moment he was elated, the next he was frowning in deep thought and frustrated, then his face would fall into a look of utter dejection. After who knows how long, Han Li finally opened his eyes, only to be startled by what he saw. Li Feiyu's head had somehow gotten right up in his face, practically nose to nose.
What are you doing? Weren't you just practicing your saber technique? Junior brother Han, what time do you think it is?
You're still asking such a stupid question. Li Feiyu pulled his body back and, disdainful, curled his lip. Han Li only now realized the light around him had dimmed. He looked up at the sky. It was already a dusky gray. Evening had fallen.
Time really flew by. I didn't notice at all.
Han Li stood up and stretched his limbs. So, find anything interesting in that book?
Yeah, it's a good fit for me.
What do you mean, not bad? Get to the point.
To be specific, these manuals are a hodgepodge. There's no complete system here, just bits and pieces cobbled together.
What's the meaning of this blink sword art? Is that sword technique even real? Why is it called such a weird name?
The blink sword art does exist. It's just one part of this whole mishmash, and in these books it only takes up a very small section. As for why it's called that, there's a reason for it.
What's the reason? Can't you just spit it all out at once? Stop doling out your words one at a time. You sound just like the old pedant back in our town. Li Feiyu shot Han Li a glare, thoroughly fed up with his sluggish pace.
According to the book, this blink sword art uses tricks of light and visual illusions to defeat an opponent. It can take a life in the blink of an eye. That's how it got its name.
What a bizarre sword technique. The world truly is full of strange and remarkable people. Li Feiyu was immediately intrigued, but then his enthusiasm was instantly doused by Han Li's next words.
This sword art has 3 prohibitions. Those with even a modest foundation in internal energy cannot practice it. Those without immense willpower cannot practice it. And those without innate talent cannot practice it.
My internal energy has already reached a decent level of mastery. I can't just abandon all that cultivation to learn a technique whose power is still unknown, can I? I'll pass. Having lost all interest in these manuals, Li Feiyu had no desire to linger here any longer. He rose to take his leave. Before departing, he instructed Han Li. Copy these manuals down as fast as you can. I'll take the originals back with me when we meet next. While no one else values these manuals, such a large collection would draw attention if it were missing for too long. Not long after Li Feiyu departed, Han Li left the area as well. The entire mountain range was draped in a thin layer of mist, making it appear rather dim. Narrow mountain paths were flanked by dense coniferous forests. A mountain wind swept through the woods, rustling the branches, which swayed and clawed like grasping hands on either side. Han Li hurried along the eerie mountain path, making his way toward Divine Hand Valley. He had set out rather late, and by the time he was halfway there, night had fallen completely. If not for the eternal spring arts enhancing his vision in the dark, Han Li would never have traveled in such pitch-black conditions. The path was treacherous, winding left and right with dangerous turns where a single misstep could lead to disaster. Walking through the pitch-black, dense forest, Han Li kept his senses on high alert. The mountain path, which would have been a blur to an ordinary person, was as clear to him as broad daylight. The mountain wind seemed to be growing fiercer, howling in relentless gusts, sending a shiver down one's spine. Han Li felt he was nearing the edge of the woods. He let out a soft sigh. Walking alone through this pitch-black, dense forest had weighed heavily on his mind. He quickened his pace, eager to leave the woods behind. However, a fierce mountain wind blasted into his face. In its wake, Han Li suddenly halted, surprised as if he'd detected something amiss. He frowned, then tilted his head to listen intently. A moment later, Han Li's expression slowly grew serious. Faint footsteps reached his ears. Though the walkers were light-footed and still far off, there were indeed two of them, and they were heading straight for him, drawing closer with every step. With a light flicker of his body, Han Li nimbly slipped into the dense forest beside the path. He came to a halt behind a large tree, a dozen yards from the trail, his form curling into a tight ball concealed behind the trunk. From the front of the tree, not a trace of Han Li could be seen. Once he'd found a good hiding spot, Han Li felt a little more at ease. For two people to come to such a remote place, on a night this dark and windy, it's just not right. 9 times out of 10, it's something shady.
When we go down the mountain, make sure the timing for the rendezvous is perfect. Tie them up. The chief will.
From the distance came the sound of hushed voices, broken and intermittent. The wind on the mountain was fierce. Most of the words were torn apart and scattered by the gale. Only fragments made it to his ears. Han Li was stunned. He hadn't expected to actually eavesdrop on such a major secret. For hundreds of miles around, the only one who could be called a gang leader was the Wild Wolf Gang's leader, Golden Wolf Jia Tianlong. To hear of such a formidable enemy of our sect in this place is rather intriguing. In the hearts of the 7 Mysteries sect disciples, Jia Tianlong was nothing less than a bloodthirsty demon lord. Rumors painted him as a hulking brute with a ghastly face and fangs, a creature of pure savagery. They said he feasted on raw human flesh and drank fresh blood 3 times a day, a monstrous existence that terrified many of the sect's younger disciples. However, according to Li Feiyu, the reality was quite different. Jia Tianlong was not tall or intimidating at all. In fact, he was slender, handsome, and quite young, just over 30. The exact opposite of the rumors. But his ruthless, kill-on-a-whim nature was every bit as terrifying as the legends claimed. Otherwise, with a face like his, how could he possibly command the respect of the other gang members, who were all former bandits? Han Li recalled his memories of Jia Tianlong, and a chill ran down his spine. He immediately curled his body up tighter and slowed his breathing. Watch me on this one.
You have to be quick when you strike. There's no time left. Hurry.
Gradually, their voices dropped even lower, as if they'd reached the heart of the matter. A moment later, their voices grew louder again, but then faded for good, leaving only the howling wind rushing past his ears. They passed the section of mountain path in front of Han Li, their figures gradually receding into the distance. Han Li remained hidden behind the tree, not daring to move. Only after using his eternal spring arts to confirm there was truly no one else within several dozen yards did he slowly rise to his feet.
It's a good thing I caught the movements of those two spies ahead of time. Otherwise, I would have run right into them. Given who they are, I'd definitely be silenced for good. What's worse, with my level of skill, there isn't even a sliver of hope for escape.
Han Li remained where he was, lightly stroking his chin as he gazed in the direction the two had vanished, a thoughtful look on his face.
From their fragmented conversation, it seems they're planning some action against the Seven Mysteries sect in the near future, and this action is closely tied to a certain list.
What surprised Han Li even more was that, thanks to his extraordinary memory, he recognized one of them as the unassuming steward from the mountain's main kitchen.
Hey, isn't that the guy who sold me the rabbit? He seemed like such a petty, penny-pinching sort. With that mustache and that sleazy mercenary look about him, to think he was actually a spy sent by the Wild Wolf Gang, that's genuinely surprising. But then again, only someone in that kind of position could travel up and down the mountain so often, delivering messages without raising any suspicion.